Listen, something a little different today, just a different sort of stream, if you will, but really in all actuality, it's the podcast, and we're doing it live, and it's the pilot episode, everybody. Hello.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe we made it here.
Right, I know. Listen, I want to do one of these numbers because we're in the theater. We're
I
in the
love that we both thought to use our neon today.
Well, this is a given for the channel.
I
And I
mean,
just love you did purple into this green so we
and
could
I'm wearing green and you're wearing purple. Please. We didn't even plan that.
we didn't, but we did. We didn't. Yo, listen, everybody, happy Thursday to you. It's your boy Maddie Rants, and I want to introduce y'all, well, reintroduce y'all to somebody who I love dearly in my life. They've been a part of my life for quite some time since my LA journey. They have seen me across states.
Sorry.
They've also lived at one point in time in my current city, my hometown, Houston, Texas. So there's a lot of connection, like inspection here. Like one of my favorite people in the entire universe, it's BLEEKER.
Hi. Hello everybody. I know that some of you guys got to know me a little bit in a previous thing that Maddie and I did in impromptu, but just a reminder here. I'm your friendly neighborhood Jendi Nooch. I go by they them pronouns. We're not gonna do any of this she her nonsense. Please appreciate it. I'm just here to have a good time. I'm hoping you guys don't hate me. You guys thought I was funny one time, but what if I'm just like a one-time comic? I don't know. We'll find out, right?
Well, maybe certain seasons of Drag Race would dictate
Oh my god.
that sort of notion, but I want to remind y'all that this is not, believe it or not, a Drag Race talk conversation, whatever point that it is. I know from my standpoint of 6 years on this channel, I do the Drag Race rant and reviews, okay? And I've been doing them edited live with partners, with groups, the full bit, that, then the other. I've covered every course of it. But with this journey in the podcast universe, and I've been wanting to do this for quite some time, and, I have other ideas for podcasts for other folks, but this individual here, we talk about movies consistently. Like it is almost every other day. And then we go back in time. We talk about movies we just saw. We go through it together. We have our seating arrangements there, all of this and that. And we've been going to the movies since there was no stadium seating. Okay. Like
when you had to line up and get into the theater like 3 hours beforehand just so you could have a shot to have a good seat. And then you had to go in, fill in the seat, and then be like, all right, who wants food? Only one of us can go, maybe two. We need somebody to hold.
Exactly. And it's all one row. And it was always that nonsense that when you're like, oh God, I can't do this. Sometimes there would be, the balcony seating that you would be able to have at certain theaters. But like there was no social media like promotions. There were no YouTube videos breaking down the spoilers and doing this. We come from that generation. Okay. And of course there's black and white movies. We're not that, we didn't go back there. But I remember my like first ultimate movie experience, even though I went to the movies prior to this, the one that comes to the top of me, BLEEKER, before we start our intros and do all this, just to give people like history here, is Jurassic Park. And seeing that at Willowbrook Mall at that little theater that yes.
My first movie was at Willowbrook.
So that little 6 theaters, it was like just a little 6 or 8 of them that were there, and it was connected to the mall.
And there were maybe like 80 seats in the
very, very tiny. And I remember my sister, we were sitting in the back row because my mother couldn't sit in the front. She had issues with like seeing close and like getting sick. So we had to sit in the back. I remember my sister threw up in that movie over the dinosaurs spitting on the guy. Like, she looked
so real back then. Now you watch it and you're like, oh, I was on another level thinking that was real. But like back then it felt so real.
Right. And I think the movie came out in 93, so I had to be like 7 or going on 6, going on 7 at the time. But it's one of my earlier memories. And again, like just to give you all a feel of where we're coming from, we love movies. And It's gonna be a different vibe for Maddie. Normally, I'm
Mhm.
going in on Drag Race, but this is gonna be very chill, also shady, but like fun. And we're doing this for entertainment, so don't take anything like personal or serious. And these are our opinions. We're not going to be arguing points of why do you like that movie. We may have like, okay, explain yourself, but other than that, it won't get too deep. So let's start with Bleeker first. This is their first or second or third or fifth, because they have a Twitch go around of giving the places and spaces you can find them, as well as a tip jar if you want to throw them something special out of love. Please.
So you mentioned Twitch, so I am on Twitch. It's the same. Most of my socials are the same. My Twitter's different because I got banned for reasons.
Wow. Wow. Oh, I should have had a soundboard for that. Wait.
I was banned for reasons. Okay, let's just RIP my Britney Spears follow.
Oops. I Barack Obama. Get it.
I mean, it's Bleeker XO on everything except for my Twitter, which is it's Bleeker XOX. Yes, I know that's Charlie. Confusing, but somebody is holding my Twitch name hostage and all of my just solo names hostage, and they're all inactive, and it's very hurtful. Oh gosh, as far as listen, I'm like, I literally go back every couple of months and check socials to figure out if I could have that name back, and I never will have it. But you can find me at It's Bleeker XO, It's Bleeker XOX at Twitter, everywhere.
I completely understand, especially because and I am downloading a soundboard, y'all, because I'm in the mood. There's an at Maddie Rants on Twitter that will not let me have the name, and they do not post even. That's the last post they had was like in 2015. It was like, what are we doing here today? So, if you don't want to, I'll give it to me.
I'll give it a good home. Let me adopt it. I'll even give you I'll spot you a $5 there. Like, give me it.
Listen. I wonder.
Listen,
is this
Linda.
Give at that part.
Listen to soundboard.
wait.
Midstream, we getting the soundboard together. 2 hours ago, I was like, we're good, right? We got everything set? Yeah,
we're set, but I didn't want it to do a soundboard, and I thought I had one downloaded, and it's not on my phone anymore. So I'm like, well, what happened? Like, I found it. Thank you. I found
Proud of you.
There we go. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to do one of these. Where's the sound at? Here we go, baby. We wanted to give a little.
Do you ever know that you're my hero?
Because you're the wind.
The wind beneath my wings.
I would say my knees, but there you go. Only
I'm just making sure your knee pits are dry.
As long as it's the knee pits. I want y'all to know we're super silly on the phone together.
Oh,
so it's
this is not serious. Like Maddie said, if we say something that where we dislike a movie that you enjoy, you are absolutely allowed to enjoy it. Everything that you enjoy about that movie is valid. Everything we dislike about a movie is also valid. We're just here to just yuck up whatever we want to talk about in our opinions. So don't take it personal. Like, if it's your favorite movie to ever exist, cool. I'd love to hear that opinion sometime. Oh, my camera.
Oh my God, she's dying. Okay, listen. Listen. Sorry.
Oh
listen.
my God.
Oh my goodness, life is ruined.
I'm ruining everything already. We're classic.
So my socials, you already know, it's all in the description with Linktree, and just hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. I do reactions on Patreon, of course, cover Drag Race on this channel and some other channels as well. Patreon. So just tune in for that. I'm also bookable on Cameo too. If you want to drop a tip in my jar, I'm going to have a little banner running down here with my paypal.me/my-rants. Catch up to all my rants. Then Maddie Rants, we did go through a Houston heat wave. So whenever you tip me, I have to pay a very, very, very large bill this month. I am upset. But
now just called me Yesified Peppermint Patty? Hang on now.
Listen, Don't listen to Liam. His comedy is skewed.
I mean, you're not wrong, but you're being really loud right now, and I need you to turn the volume down just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It's a little gassy, Liam. We got to work on that, okay? Because that joke, it just went down the drain. I'm going to have fun with this today. All right, so listen, but you can do all of that. We're going to giggle. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about our favorite movies. And with this pilot episode of this podcast, we are going to do certain topics. For example, horror movie classics. And we'll give basically 3 of our favorites. Every episode will have 3 from each of us that we have to present if we're doing nostalgia runs. Now, we may do movies that just came out. Like, for example, Bleeker may see something that I didn't see and something that I saw that they didn't see. So that way we incorporate that into an episode. You see how I made 5 things happen? Because we're both children of ADHD, and I don't believe in one movie encompassing 2 hours of my time, because I can talk about too many other things at the same time. And I feel a podcast, especially with the amount of movies that are out there in the entire universe to watch, to see, even ones that have been out that we've never seen, should all be discussed. I also think a B movie trash night is going to be a fun Sharknado rating system day. Oh, like there's going to be a whole, if we have to go down a trilogy or scrilogy or whatever you want to call it line, we're going to do the ratings of that. Also, and I want to bring the audience in on this, because this, again, is going to be so separate from YouTube, but we'll pop in here and do live videos every now and then. I need platforms y'all want to hear us on. I need to know if y'all want a Patreon for specific requests of topics, as well as in things for y'all in that nature. If you want to do this through the memberships in YouTube, so that way I can pay Bleeker appropriately for this one, like that also would work as well through the membership process here in reference for this, because I do want this to be a thing, and I am very, very much ready to get into this with my good friend here. But yeah, that's basically there. Rudy, why Maddie should produce the Colleen Ballinger life movie? No, because it would be a horror movie.
Do you want to know how much time you would have to spend actually researching and looking at her to be able to get that? Because I don't want to do that. I definitely... Everything I learn every day about Colleen Ballinger, it's against my will, and it's...
Poor unfortunate soul, so sad. Just look. I have more buttons, but you're welcome.
No, not you dug back there. Just
I was like, I know it's in here somewhere. Where is this button? Okay, listen.
My God.
Shout out to everybody who is across the pond, as I like to say, for those of you watching from different countries. Shout out to you over there, the shorts in Italy. Appreciate you for being here. Grazie, thank you. What is ciao? No. I know this. I don't. If I said bonjour, we'd be in a whole nother country. But like,
I'm not even gonna attempt.
Why do I not know this? Buongiorno? Is that can't be it?
Also,
it's ciao. Okay,
that's aloha situation where it's
okay, where it's
goodbye.
Okay, that's why I was like, I know I'm not crazy. I just honey, this.
I was like, I'm not that kind of white, so I don't know.
The most American thing I'm gonna say today. I watched The White Lotus season 2. I should know, because that's literally it took. Thank you. You're welcome. I didn't know that. I think it was Sicily where they're at, but anywho. Yeah.
You're gonna have so much fun with that toilet, aren't you?
That one's a little better for the situation. So
oh my
God. Why don't we just start?
So our categories, Maddie, what's our first category right
now? Yes. What is our first? If you don't, that was not the one. I wanted a drum roll. That's fine. Listen, let's go ahead and get into this. The Libra is kicking in, y'all. Now, we're going to be doing 5 today, and each one of us has posters. Thank you, Miss Eureka O'Hara. The O'Haras, everybody. Everyone give them a round of applause, as they are going to be assisting us tonight for this show as far as the categories are concerned. Everybody give it up for Eureka. Yes, not for the things they did in the past. All right, so we'll talk about score. And again, these are movies that sort of defined us or sort of put us in a place of saying we love movies, because the last category is aha, I love movies. But we start with score first. It has the best sound backing original piece to go with it. There may be a song in particular that's in there that just completely pulls you in. Animated film, that one is self-explanatory there. We are going to give you the one animated movie that we can always bring to an argument and win. Then there is script, baby. The words on the page translated so well that we were enthralled and could not take our eyes away from the screen. It's one of those situations where you can play the movie in the background and you are still in it. Hated it. Shout out to In Living Color, because that's where I got that from. And there will be a day when we do a hated it episode. But this is a movie that we always will trash because obvious reasons. Very obvious reasons, but not maybe to you. So we're going to let you know why through 3 points that we're going to pull together. And then, of course, aha, I love movies. That one movie that you can just watch over and over again. And maybe the first movie you saw that made you feel that way. And that's really what today is. It's going to be my first movie that made me go, yeah, I'm in it. Same thing with Bleeker. Like, okay, there were movies we liked a lot and loved, but it was that one movie that said, okay, I have to dive into this universe because this is everything for me. And it's going to be fun today. So the first movie coming from the score, I'm starting this up here. I was lazy today with 2 posters. Maddie, where's the third one? Probably somewhere on my desktop. That's fine. You know what we're doing today.
That's when ET goes home. That's fine. He's at home. We didn't get to see that part.
I wanted to have the one that was the poster I saw as a kid when it was re-released, but I had the movie as a VHS. So this is one I didn't actually go to the movie theater for. I actually saw this at home, and my mom bought this because I had older brothers, this, that, and the other, that watched this movie, right? Because it came out before my time, 1982, I believe, and I was born in 86. E.T. the Extraterrestrial by Steven Spielberg is a classic film. It is one of the most high-grossing movies ever to ever come out. And honestly, it is a master work of enchanting storytelling, but also through a score that cannot be matched, in my opinion. Correct me here. I know I'm right in this. It's John Williams. I wish I was like, why? There we go. John Williams with the score here for this music. There is a scene that happens with this film that I can't get over. It always pulls me into the emotions, and I don't know why, but it's this right here, of course, when the kids end up flying into the sky on bicycles. Like, what's happening here? But, there's this little animatronic, but sort of man in a puppet suit alien situationship, which again, that's my favorite kind of movies from the 80s and the 90s that use practical effects versus CGI. I'm okay with CGI, but I miss the days when shit looked real. Like scary kind of real, like The Thing, for example, but we're not there yet. But that kind of horror. And this movie scared me initially, especially the cornfield scene, if you remember Bleeker.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, the noises that he made were just so horrifying. And I know they're supposed to be like cute, but it was horrifying.
The fact that he could run super fast too, and it was like, oh, I don't like the little stomp speed. Like,
why were they like? In my head, he should have like waddled really slow, right? And then when he just takes off, that's too much.
I'm like, then how did he miss the ship then? If that's the, I know he was far away. I remember this. Do you
want to hear my main theory about ET and why he got left behind?
Please. Is it Roger again? Was he a test dummy?
That's kind of my thing is like, what if ET was like the annoying one in the compound? Like they made it, their mom or something made them take him with, and they were just like, what if we just ditch him at the gas station?
Not we lost your son. Like,
and they go back. I don't know what happened, ma'am. I don't know what happened. And then he finally gets home, and I want to see that aftermath. Like, that's the lore that I've built up in my head. That's not a real thing, but like, that's the ET lore I have. Like, what if he was just the annoying little brother, and they were like, let's just leave him here?
Not that. Listen, I always figured that it was basically, it's funny you say that, because isn't the situation sort of the same with the boy who was left with his just mom and all the kids or whatever, and the dad wasn't involved in the picture, so he was going through that sort of, oh, this is that, and the like. Here, it's interesting to think about this movie on a different level. We may get to a Spielberg day, y'all. Ooh,
Oh,
that would
for
be
sure.
fun.
I would really like to do that, because I'd also like to talk about the Fabelmans a lot, to be honest.
You would. I would love to hear your opinion on the Fabelmans. I'm weak, but no, yeah. No, we can definitely get into it here, but no, it's the piano for me at the end of the movie is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. I actually wanted to learn how to play the piano because of that. That da 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 da. Then it's down 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 down. That built up. The kids were on the bike trying to run from the police. It was like, get him out, get him out. They're like, come on, kids, get out. You gotta go. And it's the scene of, you remember they had to change it because it was considered violent to have the guns in their hands, and they turn it to walkie-talkies. Y'all, it is the most obvious change in a film ever. I remember seeing again, one of my favorite movies. I've seen the re-release, seen it many times. Every time it comes out in the theaters, I'm like, I'm giving you my money, Steven Spielberg. It's great to see in the movies. Like, I saw it IMAX one time and it was wow. But it's something about that scene for me. It just took me places. I was so emotional when he had to leave. I'll be right here. The man learned English. He got drunk. He did drag. It was a lot. That was a gay movie.
Not that.
I'm saying it. I think the audience agrees.
Gay. That was a gay movie.
As hell.
Honestly, I kind of see it. I mean, in a way, I can kind of see that, because for me, it always felt super sad, because it felt like an allegory of some measure of like growing up, because he was getting older, right? And he's like, this alien is kind of a manifestation of like his last bit of imagination, but it's like real, it's happening, it's there, it's kind of like proving that there's still magic in the world. And it's like, you can let go of your childhood without letting go that part of yourself. Like, you can let go of that imagination in a sense that you're like acting out these big, huge, like rescue missions in person, but like you could still hold on to the magic of what's going on around you.
Trying to get him back home.
Saw. Yeah. And that's kind of how I view the music. I don't know if that's how you feel with the music.
No, the music was all connected through the emotions, and that was a part of the E.T. and Elliot connection. Shout out to Dee Wallace too, who is the perfect early 80s, late 70s mother with that tone. They all had the same tone in every movie, but also Drew Barrymore being like, who is now currently legendary actress, coming from a family that, was established already, but her story is insane, especially because after this movie, her life went to shambles. And then, of course, here we are back again, watching her slowly tell us how her day went on her show. But, you're welcome for that. You're welcome. Thank you. That was a slow drive by right there. I shot her in the back, but no, it's but listen,
I'm laughing because it's like my whole family's Midwestern and white, so it's like that's exactly what it is. You're very just like, slowly. Get to the point, please. I get it. You went to the grocery store, it's please. Like, I'm being held
hostage. You guys, like, isn't it great we're all here today, like talking about like things I did that like maybe you did but you couldn't have done because I'm Drew.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because there was this time I married like Tom. Do you remember this guy? Green, right? Never the name in the same sentence. It's like the Tom. And then we got to great. No, I love you, Drew Barrymore. No shade. Riding in Cars with Boys is one of my favorite movies. By the way, we will have a Drew Barrymore episode because so many films I love her from Firestarter, like to
Crazy Beautiful.
Eye, that part, Poison Ivy. honey. Yeah, very, very much that girl. But yeah, I'm a fan of E.T. and I'm a fan of John Williams as a composer. Every film he's touched, it always just makes the film that much better, and he really pulls you in. So I have E.T. for my score nomination. Bleeker, what about you?
I'm really glad you asked. Also, let me just say that the posters that I picked out are all gonna have their artists listed because I feel like the mass media produced posters are booty cheeks and I hate
Oh,
them.
oh,
So,
shout out to those artists. That's what Bleeker said.
they have enough money that it didn't hurt their feelings. It's fine.
All right. No.
They worked hard on them. They're just not my preference.
So
there's no end to it.
So the movie.
The movie is us. Somebody take his soundboard away, please.
It's coming back just for you.
I need his neighbors to call a noise complaint.
Oh, that
I'm just kidding. So I picked Us, and it's directed by Jordan Peele, obviously, and you know, it's not necessarily any, like, the score isn't by anybody super big or anything. He's done a few movies. He's been there here and there. But Michael Abels is the one who does all the composition work, but he pulls a lot of inspiration for, I'm gonna butcher his name, Ludwig Göransson, who does like all of the Black Panther movie scores and that sort of stuff, where he pulls very much from like a tribal influence while also integrating like modern like rap and hip hop sort of beat. I think that this is the perfect score from a sense that it does needle drops, which, if you're not familiar with that term is, needle drops is where you're having a certain situation happen on screen and the music that comes on is something that you wouldn't necessarily hear in that scenario. So like, it's like playing a scene from Jaws and then Dolly Parton starts to play. Like, it's one of those situations.
Oh God, there's this movie that did it, and it was so out of place and I hated it, and I'm trying to think of what it was, and it was very much in the steampunk era, and then all of a sudden you hear like Kanye,
oh my God,
and I'm like, this has nothing to do.
if it's done right, it's amazing. If it's done wrong, it is so
Lovecraft Country
wrong.
I thought did it well, in my opinion, personally.
Yes. And I think that this is like the perfect combination of like a really great original score that also has those great needle drops.
Bleeker just taught somebody something. Hey, Crash.
Yes, that's what that's called. That is exactly what that's called. So if you want to feel smart and superior to your friends, you can now say
Listen,
it.
Us is honestly one of my favorite Jordan Peele movies, and I've had to argue with people about this one because they were like, you know, it was so good, and Us didn't live up to it. I said, baby, Us was deep, and it was extremely scary, and the moments that you found to not make sense were actually things that made perfect sense, but you have to think outside of just one lane of thinking here in reference to who are the real ones as far as who are the ones that were underground. Also, the idea of what happened there was scary as fuck to me. The last part with the connection of the hands and how that was like connected to like the whole situation. Like, he put real events that happened in our own reality into this movie and its entire craziness. And I love Jordan Peele for his mind and where he goes. There will be maybe a day of Jordan Peele like love festness.
Yeah.
Nope, I can talk about forever.
Yeah. Like, the thing about his films is every single corner of the frame in every single frame has a use. And you can watch them over and over and over again. You find new things every single time. This is the one that does it the most for me. Like, when you first go through and watch it, when you get to the end, you're like, I missed something somewhere along the line.
Right.
And some of the music feels like it was too intense for a certain moment. But then when you rewatch it, you realize that the original score is telling you and foreshadowing. The songs he's needle dropping in is foreshadowing and telling you, so that by the end of it, you're watching every single action so deeply in that score that there's no pulling you out of that fear. Like you're not just watching a movie anymore. You finally are able to dive into it rather than just see it as a surface level. Just for me, obviously. And it's just, there's such a humor to it as well. Like the whole like fuck the police bullshit, and when she's trying to call the police and it's like her technology fails her and is like, nah, too bad, you're gonna eat shit anyways, sorry. Like it's so good.
It was the idea of seeing yourself wanting to take over yourself and take your life, but you're witnessing you, and then this is now a reality that you're facing in a situation of complete difference, and especially for the child, the boy especially, over what difference happened from him and the trauma that he faced and how that all intertwined in together, especially with Lupita's character that I know she had a little flack on, but I thought personally she should have been nominated for this role. In my opinion, or at least one.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say, because it's a crime she didn't get more attention for this role.
Because it was,
I did not see Lupita in most of those shots. Like you can see her towards the beginning, but once she meets the others, like it's just her face changes completely. Her eyes change. Her cheekbones are set further back on her face because she's holding it a certain way. Like she's working her entire jawline into a role, and you're telling me you're not going to pay any attention to that? She played two roles, two completely different ways, and was exactly the same mirror image. That is so difficult, especially without any sort of weird CGI, because he didn't do frames where you would have to see both of them in the same frame most of the time. And if he did, they were really far apart framing. There wasn't relying on a ton of CGI. Like it's very much a visceral, deep fear that you have watching it, especially at the end where it's like this ominous, like you're fucked anyways kind
or
of like,
do we even know? Like that was my favorite. I love when movies leave me with questions and people like, oh, I hate that. Like, no. I want to be left
tell
with,
me,
like, maybe we can continue this story because of how many questions have been left. Feral Kitty. So what is the official name of this new podcast? Well, the title that you can see is Matinee Wishes and Fresh Popcorn Dreams Podcast. That is the name of the podcast. Trust me, I went through so many puns and I looked through so many people in their different movie podcasts and their old fresh powder popcorn, this and that. I was like, okay, hold on now. So as I was looking for the name today, I was like, let me think of things from the 80s that really hold true to both me and Bleeks. And sure enough, that Fresh Caviar Dreams popped up. And I said, oh,
champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
Matinee Wishes, because me and Bleeks hate large crowds, but still enjoy going to a theater. I'm not trying to have you cough on me. Fresh Popcorn Dreams, because there is nothing better than smelling fresh popcorn when you walk into a movie theater. It is the ultimate signal of the experience. And that is why it's called Matinee Wishes and Fresh Popcorn Dreams.
Pardon my temporary potato cam. I have to throw these dogs out of this room.
Ah, okay. And when they say throw them out of the room, she means gently get out of here. Get out of here. Listen, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It is a live podcast today, a little bit different than my Drag Race reviews. I'm here with my co-host, BLEEKER, pronouns they, them. We are talking about scores right now and why they are currently our favorites and sort of our taste in movies. We're about to move on from score and get into animated film, and BLEEKER gets to start this one up here.
It's true. So with animated film, we wanted to make sure it wasn't just like a nostalgia thing. In some cases it can be, but like not as an entirety whole, right?
That.
So we want to make sure that it's something that's like an impactful animated film or something along the lines of that it just sticks with you. And for me, it's currently the Into the Spiderverse, Across the Spiderverse. Like that's overtaken any other animated film that I could possibly think of right now, because honestly, this has just consumed my brain with just how much they've put into these two films. It's kind of cheating me picking two films, but with with them going into like a trilogy, okay. Spider-Man hater over here is gonna be
God.
giving
Oh God.
giving faces at me.
I'm not. No, I'm letting you have this moment of your Spider-Verse. You enjoyed it. So this is all about you, babe.
Listen, okay. I did, and it's honestly, I get it if it's not your thing. I totally understand if it's not your thing. Comics are very much my thing. I love Spider-Man so very much. There's a whole bunch of shit behind me to say that. And I think that the amount of different creative artists and different animation styles that go into this film make this one of the best set of films of the decade in animation. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry if
Don't.
anybody disagrees, because I know comic book movies are sometimes hit or miss, right? Like some people just really love them and others just are like, for certain characters, right? I totally get it.
Totally.
So for me, it was the animation styles and the opportunities that were given to like various artists that may not have had any sort of chance. So for example, the artistry that they have are people of color, they're young artists, they're artists with no industry experience whatsoever. Like it's a whole broad spectrum of like pen and paper versus watercolor versus 3D animation, all thrown into these two paired movies, using this whole color blocking of sensory unique storytelling that is not only for people who enjoy comics, but people who enjoy artwork. It's like a moving painting for me. And it hits me so solidly that they knew what color schemes to use and which animation styles worked for which moments and which characters. And like, for example, I know you'll agree with me on this. If you guys haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse, look into Hobie Brown. He is amazing. He is the best character in any of the Spider series I've ever seen, and they got it so right.
If they did a spinoff, I would watch that personally. If it was
He's
like,
gonna get the major feature.
Like, yeah, I would for sure watch a movie with him again in it, because I was mad there wasn't more of him in there. But I'm not knocking this movie. It wasn't my favorite thing in the universe, but I can agree with one thing that Bleeker's talking about. It is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in terms of animation style. And I was watching this one emotional scene with Gwen and her father. And when I tell you, that shit had me getting teary-eyed, because as she's like really like expressing her emotions to her dad, you see paint hit the backdrop of this really interesting, like just all these beautiful colors, pastel looks, but it starts to fall down, like as if there's tears falling from someone's face, or this is the part that's emotional, so you need to engage with what is happening here. And it then would change immediately to her father's perspective in a whole nother color set, because his understanding is not the same as Gwen's. And it wanted you to understand that there are two different emotions happening in this room. There's two different people who are expressing themselves, and it starts to collide when they understand. That's what I was engaged with the movie, was like how they worked that together. Plus that chase scene, I don't think can be topped at all. It was
that chase scene alone apparently took 2 years to animate.
To be honest, I didn't even want it to end there. I almost wish the movie ended that kind of, because it was just so glorious. Like, wow, okay, that was interesting. Plus the whole, he already saw what was about to come down, so he was like, I have a plan. And it was just brilliant to watch. I'll say I enjoyed the last half of the movie. I just was very tired watching the beginning of a very long cartoon.
Yeah, it was very long, but I honestly get sucked into it because it's the content.
And I'm not a fan of shippies.
But I understand.
You know what I mean? I'm not a shippy.
Oh yeah, I saw the whole Gwen Miles thing.
I was like,
my thing is like they're leaning away from it. They're just not leaning away fast enough and hard enough for me to be confident in saying, like, I don't think they're gonna end up a thing. If they make them a thing, it's annoying.
It's really annoying.
It's annoying because so So the thing here is I feel like it's kind of a big commentary on some like performative allyship versus unconditional, right? So did you notice which characters unconditionally were helping Miles without any sort of problem whatsoever? Did you notice which ones were quick to jump on him? There's a lot of things there that I feel like need to be explored more. And if they explore past Gwen Miles, we're going to actually get to the core of his character. He needs to explore the other spider people away from Gwen. He needs to lean into, he doesn't necessarily have to have a love interest, but he needs to be leaning harder into everything else.
I need a sibling-esque relationship versus a
right
love-esque relationship for me, and it's I'm almost being force-fed something, you know. That's what it felt like when I was watching the movie. I was like, this doesn't even feel organic. This is getting kind of annoying. Like they bastardize every POC from ASTV. Silk is Asian and originally had the weird pheromones thing. Leave Silk in the comics.
I think that Silk would be more suited for a series than a movie, but I would only enjoy it if it was an entire Asian writer's room.
Oh, you know, that would make some
but
people
that's
so angry.
Not gonna happen. So,
well,
they were in the comics.
Listen, you know, any more points onto the Spider-Man versus?
No, I want to hear yours.
Okay, listen. So I am going to drive us down a lane. Of course, animation is what we're talking about here, but for me, you know, I'm a Studio Ghibli kind of guy, and I've seen every movie that they have come out with. I am such a fan, but I think, and mind you, I've lived a little while. I have many cartoons that I enjoy and I love as movies that are very nostalgic for me. But like we said, this is not about nostalgia. This is the one that just we could argue down on. Spirited Away.
Absolutely.
I almost don't even need to explain how good this movie is. And this could also be in score if we're really going there. Like, like if we want to talk about it, like one of the most beautiful scores ever to be.
I mean, it could even be argued for script, like, to be honest. It's one of the perfect movies.
Best movie ever. Aha, I love movies. You know, it follows this girl who is with her family and they're moving away from their hometown. So she's dealing with a little bit of that grief of losing friendships, and they find themselves in a town. Oh, excuse me. I have a cough coming in.
Oh my God.
They find themselves. Thank you. They find themselves. Hey. They find themselves in a town where the family takes advantage of some food that they see, but it was really not what it looked like, and they ended up turning into pigs. Their daughter is then thrown into a situation where she has to work for a witch, or she will lose her family. They'll eat. Like, this is a cartoon. I know, but this is the movie. She's helped out along the way. Right. She's helped out along the way, and she learns a lot about being self-sufficient for herself, as well as believing in what she can do. And she also relies on others who are strangers that see the good in her, and they lift something out of them as well. I love that in every movie that they make, it is simply that person who is center that also lifts others around them in a different kind of way, through them all learning something here. But I put it as one of the best movies because, like we talked about, story, score, animation style, everything about it, it really moved me. And the first one I saw was Princess Mononoke of the Studio Ghibli movies. That was my introduction into this world. But it got me to Spirited Away. I'll never forget when I saw it in the theater too. I was like, what? I was crying through some of it. I was laughing through others. I was blown away by when we got inside the bathhouse, and it was this huge just production with the music. And of course, the guy down there, I forget his name, with all the arms, it's put the hole in there, and everyone was working together. And Yubaba, and then her sister, the full storyline from that, and her son, and this just the baby that ended up not being a brat anymore. And he ended up being such a sweetheart. And it was just, everything about this movie is feel good. And that's why for me, just to wrap that in a bow, it's a feel good movie. And a lot of Ghibli does that. It just makes you feel better about life and pulls your emotions in. But yeah, this is one of the best animated movies ever.
Okay, but let's talk about the animation being so good that it makes you so hungry.
The food.
Oh my God. That is the best food animation I've ever seen.
Gained weight with this one. And here's the thing, y'all. If you haven't seen this movie in 4K,
do it. If you think the food looks good now, watching it in like the old quality, wait until it's 4K. Then you're just like, I need to go get some food right now.
See, I streamed it in 4K and it was great, but I have my PS5 now, so I did a Blu-ray copy recently with my TV, and I like turned I said graphics up. Woo! That was an experience. I wish it was in 3D. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was moving so fast. But we will have a Ghibli day because me and
for sure
Bleeker can go in because Ponyo is definitely on. I see y'all talking about that one. Yeah, that one hit right here, especially when you meet Ponyo's mother, and it's like, oh my God, and the story behind the madness.
Did you see As the Wind Rises? Because As the Wind Rises had me sobbing.
I did.
Sobbing in the theater. Like, I feel like that's such an underrated one too of studio. Like, it's just it's so good.
The My Neighbor Totoro, that was the most recent one I saw because I kept pushing away. I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
Yeah. From all the artwork, you're like, it's about a cute little friend, and then you're like,
like whoa, I haven't cried that hard in a while. There will be a Japanese horror night we do. Shout out to Bleeker getting me into one of them, and also shout out to Hoso Teratoma for the house reference because that was a
ride.
Animated movies too, like Perfect Blue. We'll definitely drive down that road. But yeah, Spirited Away, one of their best, if not their best. But yeah, great movie. So the next topic, I got to start this up. Matt, do I remember what's going on here? Brain activate. Pull up the picture with the things on it. Not fast enough.
It's fine. Hang on, let me send you the one brain cell back so it'll help.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay.
Better?
Whoa, it's script. Thank you so very
Amazing.
much. Yikes. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hit that like button if you will. I hope you're having a good day. It's a movie conversation, and it's the podcast. It's Matinee Wishes and Fresh Popcorn Dreams with Maddie Rance and Bleeker. And we talk about movies, and we basically ooh and ah and love letter everything. At the same time, we'll drag some stuff soon because hated it. It's coming up. Everything, everywhere, all at once for script. Do I even need to explain myself? I haven't been... Okay, well, now, as much as, a lot of the Studio Ghibli movies make me emotional, I don't think I've ever sobbed as hard as I've sobbed in a movie in a long time, but also did a lot of self-reflection through a script, through conversations that were being held. Shout out to all the actors involved in this movie, mind you, but the script itself and the questions that it asked, not just the actors and the characters that were portrayed, but almost us as an audience while we were watching, is unmatched. It is an ultimate experience of understanding how things don't need to be taken completely seriously, but you can also be aware and fully in a moment at the same time and respect the people's emotions around you, and understanding whether you could have gone a certain way in life, whether you could have made a different decision. Everything still makes sense. And I'm getting emotional talking about this because I needed to hear that when I was watching this over my own journey with social media and making movies and stuff. And it's like, is everything worth it? Did every decision I make, did that person I met in my life, what if? And it's like, no, you're right where you need to be. And you need to appreciate that. I took that out of it. The conversation with the mother and the daughter. felt like I was talking to my mom about my sexuality when it came out.
Like I never knew I would be bawling my eyes out over 2 pet rocks at the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
Are you kidding me?
it is one of the most amazing scenes, and it deserved Best Picture just alone for that. Because when I tell you the silence in that movie theater, and then us laughing because of the uncomfortable silence of seeing 2 rocks with googly eyes turn around and start to have subtitles in a conversation that we all began to follow and read. Can you imagine? I mean, you were there for it, Bleeker, but it's like everyone just stops. We're now reading. We're just like, it's almost now we're
a pin could drop. And the choice to let it rely on the subtitled dialogue and no audio at all. You heard a billowing wind and no audio. You had to read.
Had
to be in the moment.
Had to.
Otherwise, you're gonna miss everything. And that's such a like powerful moment, because like that was a lot of quote unquote dead space as far as audio is concerned,
which would
like it was
tear
like
a
a
movie
solid
up.
like it was a solid 3 to 5 minute long scene. And yet it's the scene everybody talks about, besides like I want to be doing laundry and taxes with you, like that whole line just like ripped my heart out.
Oh man, when I tell you, I was so happy. One of my favorite actors in the universe, who I was introduced to through The Goonies, as well as an Indiana Jones movie from way back in the day. Dun, 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 dun. That's the only Indiana Jones movie that I like. The Temple of Doom. That's the only one that I'm like, is
la 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 la.
I get it. I hear you, but it's something about that one in particular that just really sat with me when I was younger that I love so much. But you know, the scene with them after she like stabs him, and it's like, but wait, like I love you, and I just wanted to. I can't even go through line for line of it, y'all. I bought this movie literally when it was immediately available to buy, but like didn't even want to stream it anywhere. I was like, no, I want this movie. But that was some unconditional love, and it was the just come back to me moment. It was amazing. It was amazing. Even Jamie Lee Curtis's character, regardless, I understand that.
Justice for Stephanie Shu. So anyways.
True. But I enjoyed her character as well. And it was also weird to see Jamie in this kind of role. And I was happy. I was kind of happy. I was like, all right, I'm happy Laurie Strode took a break for a second. And, you know, stop killing that man. I was kind of happy. And, you know, she took off her waist trainer for this one, y'all. It was, hey.
Jamie Lee, we really do love you. I just don't think that you needed the Oscar for that one. Okay.
A Fish Called Wanda for sure. That was the one. Just like Angela Bassett for What's Love Got to Do with It. We will have a conversation.
I was about to say I could have like a whole hour-long conversation about how many times Angela Bassett should have won her Oscar by now.
It should have been me is going to be the title of that episode. It should have been her.
Justice for Amy Adams as well, while we're discussing it.
It should have been her. Yep, that's what it's gonna be.
Yep.
You know, I love this movie. I recommend it if you've never seen it. Prepare to be visually assaulted with amazing practical effects, as well as an awesome story. Great kung fu scenes. Michelle Yeoh is a treasure that needs to be cherished forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And yeah, I have no more for this. Please, God, go see this movie. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Absolutely. I don't think I have a single complaint about this movie. There's not a single one, and it's so rare that I don't even have
also the title scenes from when it was everything like
so good.
I was like, oh, it got you like, oh my
like God. The whole like dildo fight scene, the butt plug fight, like you guys if you haven't seen it, this is gonna sound like crazy content right now, but like you have to see it to believe what we're saying. Like those are real things. That is exactly what it sounds like.
That's kind of what made that amazing, was that it felt like a movie that was about something else, but it also was about another thing, but also it had a lot of different.
They perfectly broke up the comedy
It
into
was.
the sad.
I enjoyed that because it was like, oh, we're getting a little science fiction in here, and then wait a minute, now we're going into this territory. Oh shit, it's getting deep. Like, wait, we're back into our emotions. We're back in reality. Like, or is this the reality? Aha! But I enjoyed that multi-dimensional travel. It's all in there. If you're Rick and Morty fans, you'll understand it. We're getting to Bleeker. Now we're on to you with script.
Do we have
Do I have
any
a typewriter?
Do we have any Gone Girl fans here? Because my script is Gone Girl. I'm sorry, but like
that actually worked really well with that one. Yeah, keep it. Yeah,
I support women's rights, but I also support women's wrongs, and that's exactly what this is. Okay, I could really just all I have to really say is Amy Dunn's cool girl monologue. The cool girl monologue, specifically like this one portion, and I specifically pulled this because it sticks with me, and it's the very end of it where she says, there are variations to the window dressing, but believe me, he wants a cool girl who is basically the girl who likes every fucking thing he likes and doesn't ever complain. How do you know you're not the cool girl? Because he says things like, I like strong women. If he says that to you, he will at some point fuck someone else, because I like strong women is code for I hate strong women.
Everyone from Southern Charm.
Perfect. It's perfect. Gillian Flynn could not have written a better book or screenplay. I'm sorry. It perfectly captures the rage women feel for having to mold into this little box and constantly have to reinvent yourself and constantly have to be amazing Amy, not just for your parents, but also for your husband and for society and for everything. And at what point do you not snap? It's like the ultimate red herring script, but it literally reveals itself dead center in the middle, and you just have to watch it play out.
And as somebody who didn't read the book, that just went to the movies and saw it, when I tell you, this middle that that they're speaking of, when I tell you, I think maybe me and 5 other people didn't read the book that were watching the movie in the theater, but all of us at the same time went, excuse me? Oh, I know you are. What? Like, we were all like, what? And someone's like, you didn't read the book. I'm like, I did not read the book. I'm like, oh, you're in for a treat. Keep watching. I'm like, stop it. Where is this going? It was so good. The way they transitioned that scene, it went from this whole effect of what's happening to boom, boom, boom.
And she's just calm, cool, collected.
Everything planned out, perfectly plotted until.
Like the scavenger hunt is diabolical writing.
It was the comeback for me in the whole, you have to deal with this, unfortunately, because you know you fucked up and play it up. Turn around. I was like, this is too much.
And I love that she turns it on him, because she literally, like, the whole time it was she had to be perfect for him. And then she blackmails him and frames him into behaving and says, now I've got you under my thumb. Like, that's amazing writing.
Like, I left that movie I said, now that. And was it? And Rosamund Pike, I want to tell you something here. I became a fan of yours ever since. In that other movie that came out on Netflix too.
I don't care. Forget it. She haunted me. She haunted me in that. Oh my God.
That's Emma Frost, y'all, by the way, but I'll be quiet.
She's perfect.
Perfect for that.
She chills you to the bone.
That
in
tone,
anything.
the tone and the way there is no warmth when she is like communicating a cold response. It is nothing but daggers. And it's like, well, are you okay? Are you bleeding?
While having this beautiful doe-eyed look on her face. Mm-hmm. Like, you're so cold, and yet you have this like permanent affixed, like, doe-eyed, innocent, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, It's
Very
so
bad.
good.
Very
So I genuinely, I would dare somebody to argue against this being a perfect script. I mean, you probably could if you really wanted to, but this is another one of those movies where like the only downside is we kind of have to look at Ben Affleck.
Thank you. Oh my God. Please. Oh, that's why you're my
Like
friend.
I said, if I'm picking a downside, it's Ben Affleck because I just don't want to look at him anymore.
Thank you.
I just don't
Thank
want to
you.
look at him anymore. Like, I'm sorry. I get it. He's a great writer. He can write and direct the house down, right? Perfect. Amazing. His acting
is in between cycles of depression. Oops. Like
which is why I guess you can argue that he's the perfect Nick Dunn.
He's not a good Batman.
But
I hate him as Batman with an infinite passion. And
we need more than 2 hours for that one.
Like baby. Everything wrong with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck podcast. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No shade to Ben Affleck, but you are.
Listen, he does have good performances. I'm not gonna say that he's like the worst performer ever. Blah blah blah.
That's Keanu Reeves and Nicolas Cage, but yes, pop off. Hi,
but like in a good way.
No, because Nicolas Cage and Keanu Reeves are the same person in different bodysuits.
Why are you stop being loud? Turn your microphone down, please. You're being really loud. Can you? Wow. Did you guys hear? He was yelling. He was yelling just now.
Listen. It's the Matinee. It's covered on it.
I will literally don't even get me started on Matt Damon. I do not have enough time about how badly he has treated Black women in the past and how he doesn't deserve to have any projects whatsoever.
Allegedly.
Anymore. I'm so over. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Except it was on the green light on his show, so I don't know.
Listen, I'll watch the Ben and Matt episode. No, we could talk about the beginning and then endings of them. I would say for Ben Affleck, it was Jennifer Lopez, and for Matt Damon, it was after Good Will Hunting. Boom. So, there you go. Now we're into Hated It.
Yeah, so the Hated It film, I feel I picked a little bit differently than you, but we both kind of got the general aspect of it. So I purposely went out of my way to pick one that people love. So to take it in for a minute if you're a Greta Gerwig stan, because I love Greta Gerwig, I really do, but I hate Lady Bird so very much. It is one of the most annoying rides I have ever been on in my entire life in watching indie films. I'm so sorry. It's got Saoirse Ronan in it, and she does a lovely job, but I can't watch this movie. And the reason I think I hate it is because I was too old when I watched it.
What?
Listen. This is about a teenage struggle, right? So if you haven't seen Lady Bird, it's about a teenager who's in a small town who's basically just trying to like reinvent herself and like make herself known. And she very much treats her mother terribly throughout the entire time. Now, if I were in my teens and maybe like smidge early 20s, then I probably would have related to her more because she's the bulk of the story. And I only get to see chunks of the mother, but it's very much feels like, okay, well, I was 29 years old when I watched this movie. And as a 29-year-old, I can see you're being disrespectful. She is making so many valid points. All she has told you is that there's a roof over your head. I'm paying for all of these things. I can only pay for so much. I'm working super hard. And you're giving her a hard time. And I know, and again, I'm going to do a spoiler alert because it's the only thing I can do to emphasize my point, because I'm going to say the end of the movie. So close your little ears, mute, whatever. Here's your chance. I'm giving you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The end of the movie is where it wraps up and she calls her mother and is like having a human conversation and she finally gets it and she relates. but it's literally 1 minute of the movie. For me, I'm in a point in my life where I want to see her implementing all these changes she's learned. I want to see her making reparations with her mother.
I mean, wasn't it basically she was a senior in high school and she was going to
Yeah,
go into
she went to
college?
college, and then
Yeah.
she had a college experience, which is her first adult experience,
Mm.
and suddenly she's apologizing to her mother.
I do want to give Lori Metcalf, or
you can unmute. You can unmute.
Yeah, I want to give her a shout out because, of course, from Roseanne, her sister Jackie. But I thought, honestly, for me, that's who my focus was during the movie. Going, that's right. Every time she was dragging her, I lived for every moment the mother went in on her, because it was like, yes, pull her ass together real quick. I forget, there was one moment in the movie where she obliterated her daughter, and it was like, okay, you can't come back from that. Like,
was it the yelling in the bedroom scene?
Yep. It was like, whoa, you can't come back from that. And I, of course, have been through those moments with my own parents, for sure. I know that. But yeah, I didn't hate this movie, but this is one of those movies I never watched again after I finally did see it. And I never saw it in the movie theater because it didn't interest me to see it in the theater because of the trailer being so hokey pokey, da 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 da. I hate you. It was like, nah, I don't want to sit in the theater.
It's like, it's not that it's like a bad movie. I'm not the audience for it. I don't like people who like try and convince me that it's
I wouldn't have
good.
nominated somebody for it, but I'll be quiet there. But
I'm not even going to get into the fact that Saoirse plays pretty much the same character in a majority of her stuff. Like, that's just, I mean, I love her. She's amazing. She does great work, but she very much has typecasted herself into a role that she could play the same way.
Honey, she's trying to make sure she can pay that rent out there in LA.
Hey, no joke. No.
You ask Halle Berry, her and them shake and go wigs and always losing children roles she has. So I understand it. Trust and believe. I'm like,
is she not like the sponsor for like kitty cat wigs at this point?
At this, not even kitty cat, but Amazon Prime next day delivery wigs. But also, the last movie I saw her in most recently was Moonfall. Oh, what a bad movie.
Oh, I heard nothing but bad things.
What a terrible script. What a horrible. Interesting to watch on a level of just, but other than that,
not the yuck.
Man, when I say, I was like, girl, here we go with this real love. Not really, but let me.
Wait. Not somebody saying Gothica was bad. I can argue into the ground that it's not.
So it's not bad.
So exactly. I was about to say Maddie will back me up.
So it's not bad. It's actually a classic film from Halle Berry. Like, no, you won't. No. There will be a day we have a Halle Berry day. There will be actor conversations.
No, she really was acting in that. Okay, she was acting.
You blame Robert Downey Jr. when he was just coming back for those issues because he was a little shaky. Not to so to speak.
Well, people might. Well, I'll save that.
Y'all have to remember timelines for those girls in Hollywood, but I'll be quiet. That was that comeback.
Like that was.
Sorry.
Literally though. That
was the beginning of that comeback.
She was literally trying to take any role she possibly could because no one was offering the good ones.
It was right after Monsters Ball, for the kids that don't remember, because when she won that Oscar, it was like, here come these roles that are what's happening here. And we were trying to go for it again, but it really wasn't coming up. Then the Catwoman was a failure. Then it sort of went from there. Halle Berry's career is really interesting. We can talk about it. Remember how there was in that Atlas Cloud movie that was supposed to be that $1 million production, and it was
where they had Jim Sturgis and Tom Hanks in Asian Face? I saw that in theaters with my mother, and out loud she goes, "Is this Yellow Face?"
Oh my God!
Oh, it is, mother. It is.
Oh, Colleen, Amanda Sings would be proud. Listen, pull out a ukulele for that last little blackface video, Miss Thing.
Oh,
Anywho,
somebody mentioned Crash. There's not enough minutes in my day.
That movie.
Not enough. That is universally the movie everybody says is the worst Best Picture winner ever.
Because here's the thing. When I originally saw it, I was like, this movie was like, wow, like this is incredible and all that kind of shit. Like we bought everything else like that. Later on, down the line, as the years passed, and
self-awareness kicks in, learning has kicked in.
That didn't need to be made. And what's crazy is there are people who are currently still living in that mentality right now from that movie. So yeah, it was very problematic. But this is the movie that I hate so very fucking much.
Agree.
With an infinite passion. My issue with M. Night Shyamalan is consistency.
Yeah.
That would end of the show. We could wrap it here. But no, for real though. The Village is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life because the payoff was absolute shite. That's the main point to take from it. I'll give you 2 more points to go with it as well. So you're telling me the premise of this film is these people have found a plot of land that just so happens that they were able to pay off people where airplanes, no one can track it on any sort of map. All of them had enough money to do this, to be so privileged to have their own community in the woods where they're not traceable. Bullshit. That's already the one. 2, we have there's no wait, hold on, because it gets better. Hold on. We have a mentally disabled person who is the reason why there are issues happening here because he stab somebody and they're on their last bit of life, and they send the blind girl, do you hear me, to go into
these are 2 different disabled people, by the way.
The use of disabled people in this movie is out of line and out of character,
out of pocket,
and it's gonna get worse. I can continue. They send and mind you, she was also redhead, so they were really just trying to like take out folks and just ruin nobody gonna have no red babies. I said, no, we're gonna send her out. Send Mr. Howard's daughter out there. Ron Howard's daughter out there. So Ron Howard's daughter is sitting there playing a blind woman out in the middle of the woods, trying to go and find help. Do you hear me? Because hold on, let's really reassess the situation. They have told people they're monsters in the woods to make them not leave, and so they send the blind girl in the woods with the monsters.
And the people literally will fake having people out there as the monster.
That's the worst part about it, everybody, is that they're not actual monsters. They were playing, they had people take shifts to play monsters by putting on capes that they would make. And so here's the real kicker of all of it. As she's going through the woods, lost, can't find her way because why?
Wait, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, even though it's a fucking old movie, you probably should have already.
There are going to be a lot of spoilers, especially with this podcast. We're going to be dragging movies left and right. But back to it. The word, like, I thought this was crazy because I thought it was like watching an episode of South Park when they were making fun of something like the Honey Boo Boo episode with Cartman and her going against each other with their own look. You understand what I'm saying? You put the blind lady against the man with a mental disability, and they fought each other in the woods, and she kills this man. Yo. But it gets even worse because you're like, wow. So like, it's not the Special Olympics that are happening right now. It's a death match that they just sent these people to because they don't know any better. And we get to her getting to a fence. Yo, like, this is where it was crazy. It was like, we get to a fence, climbs over the fence, and it's M. Night Shyamalan and all his disgusting glory that gives her medicine to then crawl back over. Mind you, he's not even there, doesn't even know about what's going on over here. Okay, just sees this woman pop out the woods in all her traditional garbs, asking for some assistance, which gives her some medicine that she then climbs back over the fucking fence to then give them, and they can continue on with their lives. Boo. Imagine sitting in the movie theater. Imagine
the whole like realization of like they're in modern day. You're like,
so
he really thought he had a Planet of the Apes moment, Maddie.
I want to stress that me and I want to say 20 other audience members asked for our money back after finishing the movie, and I got my refund. You damn Skippy, I got my when I tell you we were. The moment the credit hit, I got up so fast, and so did some other people. Like, fuck that. Like, we were cussing a storm up. Like, that was the biggest waste of time. Oh, next to The Happening. But like, girl,
the plants.
fuck that. The wind was fucking people up. Do you hear me? Like I boo. Mark Wahlberg, boo. It was boo. That was bad. Zoe Deschanel, that was one of the worst. You were horrible.
Tomato.
Woo, my goodness gracious. Like playing the same quirky girl in every show. Sorry. Excuse me.
Okay, that's why I was laughing. The whole, like, what is wrong with white people? That's why I was laughing when you were describing the movie, by the way. Because you immediately went in and said, oh, these rich white billionaires with all their airspace
just sat like, oh, we somehow, and when you find out it was a neighborhood of people who collectively got their money together and were able to somehow have one little plot of land where they can just live. That made absolutely no fucking sense. And it just was, I thought the whole, her climbing over the fence and getting the medicine, and all of a sudden this man, he's not gonna report this to somebody and ask questions or what. Boo. Like, Sixth Sense was great. I thought
that Toni Collette scene in the car with him. Oh my god, that whole speech when she starts going, I asked her if she was proud of me. Oh,
oof. That movie scared the shit out of me and also made me emotional at the same time. He's had some gems in there. I will say the Split movie was kind of fucking cool, coming from Unbreakable. I thought was very interesting. I didn't like the most recent one that came out, but the one where it was a masterclass in acting, I would say, from, I forget, Professor X from First Class, and this, I can't get the actor's name down.
Patrick Stewart?
Nope, not Patrick.
James McAvoy?
That one, yes, the younger one. Yeah. The Tom Holland of the X-Men universe.
Get out of here.
Boo, but I'm telling the truth. But listen, and Lady in the Water was, that could have been a good movie.
Again, the ending ruined that.
It was so close. It was so close that it made no sense.
We're going to rack up all these directors and cut them to the core, I swear.
We'll talk about Mr. Feet soon, too.
We will. Oh, my God. Poor Uma.
Did you see that trailer for that new movie she's going to be in where she's the president and her son is
dead?
But it looks terrible.
Okay, do you want to know? Okay, fun fact. That's Andrew Garfield, Jesse Eisenberg fan fiction.
Really?
From the Social Network days. I'm not kidding. And then she turned it into a romance novel, and now it's a TV show, movie, whatever the hell.
I thought it was a Hallmark movie that was like their first gay, like, sort of introduction, because everybody seems to look like genuinely happy, and
quite literally Wattpad fan fiction that got turned into a book, and all she did was change the like backgrounds and names of the characters.
I love how they have their person of color son dating the most alabaster of family members from a royal family who, if we think about it and we talk about it and we go into it, if we think about Meghan's situation with that royal family, I don't want to go there, so we're going to continue on. So now that we're done with the hated portion of this, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in today. We appreciate you for being here. Hit that like button. Reminder, this is a podcast that's not going to be totally on YouTube exclusively. We're going to be going to Apple Podcasts and Spotify platforms as soon as your boy Maddie figures that out, or BLEEKER figures that out, or we figure that out.
One of us are going to figure it out.
And so we'll be doing these more so from a audio perspective than a visual, but we'll have live episodes some days. So the next category is Aha. I love movies. It's one of those movies that made you really recognize your love for film, and you will cherish it forever. You can watch it over and over again. It will always hold the same weight. It still is available for your consumption. I think a lot of y'all already know my choice in this because I've talked about it before, and we did just mention the director. We did just do the director here, but it is Jackie Brown.
Whew.
One of my favorite, excuse me, I have to stop saying that with this one. My favorite movie ever. And I'm thankful to my mom and dad for this one because 11 years old, 1997. No, I wasn't 11. No, yes, I was. Yes, I was 11 years old. and it was around Christmas because this came out around Christmas time. And we were avid movie people. My parents took me to the movies to see everything. I sat in Terminator 2 at a very young age. I even got to see Terminator 1 and a re-release when it came out one time. It scared the fuck out of me. I've seen a lot of crazy shit. Like I was like a kid being watching like, oh my God. But like, you want to talk about, now I'll give you this, Quentin. This script is so heavy, and it's based off of a book called Rum Punch. And Quentin Tarantino took this movie, and he made it for Pam Grier. And he did it because of his love for Black exploitation films for his own reasons. And Pam Grier being one of the center, if not the focal point of Black exploitation, especially with Black women and powerful Black women in those films, where it came from a sexual standpoint at one point in time, and then they soon put her into the powerhouse position. A lot of films that have been made today even still take from Black exploitation films. And this was his love letter to that. And for me, it is my beginning of my love affair with Miss Pam Grier, because I became such a fan. And sitting there with my parents were through the Black exploitation era. They were born in the 40s. So they're watching one of their favorite actresses it was her resurgence in her career, was this movie.
Because she got blacklisted for a while, right?
Sure did. And this was the one that brought her back into the conversation again. And people were saying it. She was robbed of an Oscar nomination. So was Samuel L. Jackson, to be real with you. He got a Golden Globe nom, but it was that Samuel L. Jackson was a monster in this movie, y'all. Robert De Niro, one of the most gritty, like horrible, like little side henchman roles you could think of, but so perfect. Michael Keaton, we know him as Batman, but he was one of the greatest TSA agents.
Oh my God. His comedic timing is so good.
You know, don't forget, hold on, what's my boy's name, who's Max Cherry? He passed away recently, I think so, unfortunately. Oh, come on, Matt. I used to have this man's name in there because it was him putting on the Delphonics in the car. Just because he was like enamored with her.
Wait,
hold on, I got him. It's something Forrester. Yes, Robert Forrester. There we go. I was like, I knew it was Forrester, or Forster, excuse me. Yeah, Robert Forster, may he rest in peace. He was Max Cherry. I loved his character so much because he fell in love the moment he saw her coming out. And I think another reason why I love this movie too is the music was perfect. It was perfect. The scenes that were set up, her going through the airport across 110th Street. Yes, like the focus just on her, like going through the airport, and it's nothing to like add in with scene. It's just her. And then the way that there were so many monologues throughout this. Bridget Fonda was a complete asshole, and it was perfect because she was like the chaos that was in Ordell's life that was fucking it up. But not to give away the movie, but basically Jackie Brown is running drugs back and forth from, I think, what was it, Mexico or Tijuana for Ordell, and she ends up getting caught, and the TSA wants to catch him, and they try to use her, but she doesn't take the deal. She ends up putting herself in a position where she has to start working with them to get him back, but she has her own plan and order. But also, everybody else does as well. It's a very great, good masterclass of who's going to get this money and how is this about to play out. And it does it from multiple perspectives. I think Quentin Tarantino did a good job with this one because it wasn't just Jackie Brown, even though that's the title character. We had Ordell's storyline. We had Robert De Niro's character. We had the TSA agents. It was like a back and forth of like watching this play out. And I think my favorite scene, I'm sorry, is in the mall.
No, don't apologize.
It's in the mall when she has to pretend that the money just got stolen and she was just got. And it's that don't.
Oh yeah.
It's
just such a good score. Like, to say what you want about Tarantino, because you absolutely can, but he's going to do two things in a film. He's going to give you a strong female, and he's going to give you a score that is perfectly set, timed to the millisecond.
Listen, let me tell you something. Oh, I can quote this movie like it's nobody's business. Talk about, is that what I think it is? What do you think it is? I think that's a gun pressed up against my dick. Fool, then you thought right. Now take your hands from across my throat. Can't say that word. Like, then it was when she's in the vault and she's walking and she's trying to like pretend because there's cameras.
Yes.
They're seeing her. Like,
That little rush. That little rush.
She was acting her ass off. That she's like, Ray, he took the bag and he was gone. And they're questioning her, knowing full well she had given Max the money and did all that full scene work beforehand. And it was them showing how, oh, that is one of the best parts of the movie, is how they showed the timelines, how everyone was playing their own little part of trying to get over on each other, and then how, oh, it was everything.
Yeah, he still strings it along in a modern way for the time period it was released. He calls back to that era, but also stays in our own of the time period the film was released. Like, it's so masterful how he's able to do that, especially as a white man. So I'm hoping that there's some sort of Pam Grier putting him in his place and doing it her way at some point, I'm sure. But like, there's no missing in this. Like, there's no missing.
When you absolutely got to kill every motherfucker in the room except no substitutes. Like,
the back and forth is just like, so she's so on.
Great conversations too. That's why I liked how he built the script, because it was very like, we're sitting there just observing these people have these moments and really just talking about. I as much as he's kind of gross, I have many Tarantino movies are in my wheelhouse of top movies ever. And this one, thank you, Mom and Dad, for taking me to the movies. I'll never forget. I sat and did not change my focus the entire time. Talk about, where is the car? Yes, where is the car?
That's what I was laughing at.
Luez. He's like, you have one more time. If you say another word, I swear to God.
And she dares. She
was like, okay, and pow, pow, pow. He said, see, I knew where the car was. Like, wait, she's dead. What you talking about? I knew where the car. But it's Ordell when he has to talk to him and he's trying to like, well, I shot her. Why'd you shoot her? That's my surfer girl. And he was like, well, she just wouldn't shut up. And then when he realizes he got played, and it's this beautiful statement, man, Quentin, you did this. That zoom in of like Samuel Jackson contemplating his options before he does what he does, knowing that's his boy, and he fucked up big, and he has to make the decision to kill him in the car. It was like, oh my God.
The framing zoom in, like, there's a way that he, like, Pam Grier is beautiful no matter what. I want to say that first and foremost. But the way that he lights her and the way that she knows how to lean perfectly into it every time, you always got that shot of her eyes. You always got that side.
That
of her
bar
face.
scene,
like
when they're in there having the conversation.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of.
It was that deep red, and you can smell the place. See, okay, y'all have to be of a certain time. Like, anybody who's young watching this now, you will not have this experience. I'm sorry, that time is gone. Like the Pizza Huts you could sit down in that had the old carpet that smelled a certain kind of way. The Blockbuster video days and eras. There are certain bars you can go to, like sports bars, that would look like how you saw in Jackie Brown, that you will not catch today, where it smells like smoke because everyone's been smoking so much in there. It's the smell of food, smoke, and you hear music, maybe a live band possibly, or a jukebox situationship, and it's like just drinks are being made. It's very dim. It's very like the lights are down. It's just only lights on certain tables. I miss that shit. Everything's all cool and whatever now. And I'm like, I miss the old kind of time.
Now it's either too dark or I see too much. Like, where was the middle ground?
And I hate seeing too much. I'd rather have to pull out my flashlight in a goddamn bar, because I'll be damned. Whoa, sis. Whoa. This is not a perfect face. But yeah, favorite movie ever. Love it so much. Aha. I love movies.
Oh my God. So mine's Moulin Rouge. I know. Listen. I was watching a lot of movies as a kid. My parents are from two very different generations themselves, so I was always watching movies. So, like Maddie said, it wasn't that we hadn't seen good movies or anything until these points, but this was the one that really like made me go, this is what movies can be. Holy shit, I'm in. And it's because I was like so deeply embedded in musical theater as a kid that I didn't realize you could put like musical movies on screen like this. Like I had seen like Oklahoma and all those like old like Music Man, all that sort of stuff, right? But like this is on a whole other level. It's mixing both stage and film. Like it's a jukebox musical at the end of the day. And if you don't know what that means, it's pop songs or songs that have already been written that then get a musical spin and get tossed in like medleys, etc. So you're able to relate to it, and it's telling a story that's meant for that song, but it's also implied in a different storyline kind of situations. Like Rock of Ages is a jukebox musical. This is now on Broadway as a jukebox musical because that's what it was in film. And it kind of like it finally made me see that there are like love stories that are more than just fluff pieces. Like you could have a tragic, devastating blow of a romance story. Like the whole thing starts off like the love of my life is dead. Like that just immediately just like shoots you in where you're just like, oh, so this, you're not going to be happy. Yet by the end of the movie, I'm still crying. I'm still crying. I know that she's going to die. Why am I still so insanely sad? Because Ewan McGregor cries so viscerally real at the end of that movie that I can feel it in my throat. And like the production value of the songs and the color and the music, it just breaks me down into pieces. Like he's able to fit not any of his newer stuff now, Baz Luhrmann. I'm looking at you about Elvis. That's right. Into your soul about Elvis. How dare you?
So funny because we were talking about this with Baz Luhrmann in his films, and I think the one that I said for me was the Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. I was obsessed. I almost made that the movie that was the aha. I mean, but that was also because I had a crush on Leonardo DiCaprio when I was younger. But like,
that's why I took it off of mine.
Like when I say that soundtrack is still one of my favorite soundtracks to a movie ever. Like I've listened to it in many states.
That Gorecki song.
For me, it was the garbage song that I didn't realize that I would love when I had my little black alt boy character going on for quite some time. I was really obsessed with Dario, y'all, and I also like went to an all white school for a little bit, so I had to change my vibe for a second. I was very happy to get to Westfield. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
I would lie for you. Yeah. I will lie and steal, and used to just. Used to give it to me. Sorry.
I know a lot of people talk about Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie, but can we give John Leguizamo his attractive flowers?
We can, and also him just acting his ass off, as well as
like
what was the other guy? What's his name?
The guy that played Mercutio?
Yes.
He has a new show called From. I want everybody to watch it. Thank you very much. I need more seasons. Thank you.
Like it was I love that they kept it in Shakespeare. You know,
that's the best part.
I love that.
It sticks so well. Like he's able to perfectly mesh the dialogue with the music, and like even for people I know who hate musicals, they love Moulin Rouge, they love Romeo and Juliet, like they love those films. Like if they don't like Shakespeare, you put on Romeo and Juliet, they're gonna love it.
See, it's coming to me. Baz Luhrmann, you really do be putting on like.
I'm telling you, he's only missed twice for me, and it's Australia and Elvis.
It's da 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 da. I said there was a whole track show that just happened to Romeo and Juliet, y'all. Like with drugs.
Full blown, take a tab and go.
But also, can we talk about the transition of music when they get into the bathroom with the aquarium wall separating, and it's Angel, hold on to me. It's like, what is happening there today? It just,
and then like the random Paul Rudd that rolls.
Like, what's going on? I'm with you. I think Moulin Rouge is one of those movies that is timeless, and it did set a standard for like visual visceralness when it comes to musical numbers being done. And I think Baz Luhrmann was in his bag around this time frame, because I think Romeo and Juliet was it before this?
It was before this. So
And yeah,
it was strictly ballroom, which is perfect. It was Romeo and Juliet, perfect. It was Moulin Rouge, perfect. Australia then happened. I like to pretend it didn't. And then Great Gatsby.
Oh my God. I will never forget when Leonardo DiCaprio swallowed that poison and Claire Danes woke up. And then it was that. I said, now Leonardo and Claire were in their bag for that scene. They were in their bag for that scene. Like
the way that they both just cry.
They didn't no music, nothing, and she
with all the candles and the lit up cry. Oh my!
Claire Danes sobbing was one of the most gut-wrenching things I've ever heard in my life. That
the Roxanne's song medley is the one that does it for me for Moulin Rouge. Like, you cannot tell me that song does not just hit. It doesn't. It just hits every time. Like, you get the deep bass of the like main chorus line, and then you've got Ewan McGregor with the standout belting lines, and then you've got, you know, Nicole Kidman looking like a porcelain doll up in the rafters. Like, holy cow!
Those were Tom Cruise days.
Yeah, she was still glowing, thankfully.
We were happy that she broke away from that chain.
I hate musicals, but Sweeney Todd is my fave. But is it the movie version that's your fave? Because, yeah.
No shade.
Yeah, literally no shade. None. I also was in my, like, we all had, not we all, but like, let me say,
I like Sweeney Todd the music.
As a white person, we went through a certain actor phase.
Tell us about the oppression days.
And
it just, you know, I forget. This isn't yeah, I have to remind myself of these things, but you know, continue. Go.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into all the other extracurriculars there, but he's not my favorite portrayal of that. And it's only because he can't sing. He can't sing. Like, I'm sorry if everybody had a crush on him. I'm sure that's lovely. But
he cannot sing.
And like, the movie is beautiful. For what it is, it's a good movie. But I don't know.
Well, it's also one of those, you know, Tim Burton, no black people can exist kind of movies too.
Yeah, that like, and I used to be like a really big fan of Tim Burton. Then he said that, and now I'm like, oh my God, you're right.
Wait, what was the quote again? It was crazy.
The literal quote is, the reason I don't have people who are black or of any other race, literally what he said, black or of any other race, they don't fit my aesthetic. Being dead? We all die. Your aesthetic is dying.
I was dead. Like, oh my goodness.
Looking gone.
I was like, and this is me as a light, very bright skinned person. I'm like, so do I fit that dead ass aesthetic? Can I color fill your role? Well, we don't have affirmative action anymore, so I can't get in the movie.
No. Whoever said Hedwig and the Angry Inch, I have them tattooed on my hands.
Oh, that's one of the best movies of all time, as well as a great musical in the general sense. Listen,
it's perfect.
John Leguizamo, both in Moulin Rouge and Romeo and Juliet. Listen, you know,
amazing.
I've enjoyed him in a lot of stuff except for his Daily Show run. But
true, that was awkward. It was really awkward.
Oh man, you want to talk about somebody looking for a punchline? Woo, terrible. I was like,
and they were like, please just grab one
like,
punchline.
Watermelons were being thrown at him, y'all. I'm swinging a miss every joke, and then he would get into some sort of conversation that has nothing to do with anything. And then it's like, by the way, I'm Latino. And if you didn't know, I'm Latino. And next week I'm Latino. And this is my us Latino. And it was like, okay, we know. We not only do we know, we support it. We live and breathe for it. But it almost turned into everything. Well, we know we don't do this.
Like, are you convincing us or yourself at this? Like, what's going on?
He reminded me of like how Steve Harvey used to be with his jokes when he was like, you know how it is when we always, and you know when we men do all this, and you know when it's like, I hate that fucking comedy. You know, and it's like, no, I don't. I have no idea what you've gone through. Who are you? You haven't even told me who you are yet.
You haven't even told me who you are.
Let me know, what's your favorite Pop-Tart before we start to get into this deep kind of spills. Like, please, I need to know where your cycle is. Like, are you a strawberry fan or are you a s'mores? Because if you're a s'mores Pop-Tart guy, we can't talk. We can't talk. It's disgusting.
Oh my goodness.
So somebody brought that up in Twitter and I had to run away from that conversation.
Yeah, it's not our conversation.
That was not my place. I was like, and scene. Like, I live in Texas, but I am not like going to oh, I thought I felt somebody. Hold on.
Ooh, somebody asked what our favorite Broadway to film adaptation is.
Dreamgirls. Yeah, Dreamgirls for me. Dun, 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 dun.
This is
every man has his own.
It's either gonna be
Mom, which one? Where are you?
It's either gonna be Dreamgirls or Little Shop of Horrors.
Ooh, I have to second that motion. I second that motion.
Yeah,
Little Shop of Horrors is everything.
Yeah, you can't categorize Hairspray because it was a movie, then it was a musical, and then it was a musical movie. So it doesn't count, technically.
We need the Broadway 2 movie category here. So listen, 20 more minutes on the clock, kids, because we're keeping this at a 2-hour show. At this point in time, we're going to leave this for a Q&A as far as if you just want to ask general questions. What kind of movie? If this movie, horror, we can do quick questions. Of course, we'll do much deeper episodes in the future, but this is your chance to ask questions. So do it. Do it now.
We have opinions to give.
Do it now. If a cat jumps on me, this was all in my plan.
I was about to say, you're literally coaxing him too.
I was looking for him. I need you. You always show up for the end of the show. It's supposed to be like that, dog that Andy has stuffed in a pillow somewhere. Listen, it's insanity.
While you guys are thinking of questions, I want to give you guys a rundown of your upcoming movies for July.
Please and thank you.
So tomorrow, you've got 2 that I'm looking forward to coming out. Insidious: The Red Door is coming out tomorrow.
I'll go see that.
Joyride is coming out tomorrow. Our girl Stephanie Shu.
I'll go see that too. That's 2 movies I'll see.
It's making a whole bunch of white men mad, so I want to go see it.
I saw that post, that review that guy made. I was like, wow, tell us how you really feel. You went I bet did you go to Thailand? Do you want to tell us what your favorite room to rent is? I had a man that used to do that when I worked at a bank. He would tell me his mini explorations of Thailand and how amazing the women are. And it's like, oh my goodness. I'm like, this is a conversation about your bills, sir. Like, do you want this debit card or not? You lost it.
Literally. We also talked about Miyazaki. So Miyazaki's last film is coming out July 14th. It has had little to no marketing. It's called How Do You Live? Please support that. He has literally made public statements saying he's worried no one's going to see it because it's not being marketed. Because the company has essentially just seen him as retired at this point and he doesn't own stock anymore. So please go watch it. That's coming out July 14th. Theater Camp, July 14th.
I'll be seeing that.
Yes. Barbie and Oppenheimer, July 21st.
That's Barbie.
Amazing. I'm going to see both because I'm crazy. Haunted Mansion, July 28th. Talk to Me, July 28th.
I have to run away from trailers now so I don't have the entire
absolutely.
Because it's like, okay, y'all are doing too much promo for this now. Like, we got it from the first time in the theater. It was very chilling. I want to see this play out. Please don't spoil the movie. Fozzie, I love horror. So what's your guys' top 3? Can we give one so far? Because that'll probably be an episode if we do top 3.
Yeah.
So like one off the top of our head that we can just like gush over.
The Audition.
Oh, we talked about that. Yeah. You say The Audition. I am going to say, and I know I mean, I won't do Child's Play 2 because that'll be another love letter later, but I will say The Conjuring. The first one,
yeah,
because I love Frances McDermott. Well, I love her so much. I do.
But did you just call Vera Farmiga?
No, not. I'm not talking about Vera. I'm talking about the mother who was. It's not.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't even think her name is Frances McDormand. Let me make sure I got that right. I think it is because she was in this other movie I loved from back in the day. No, it's not Frances. Excuse me. Fuck, what's her name? I know. Hold on, Matt. Just type it in. We have phones. We have phones. She was in another movie from a long time ago. Where are you? Lily Taylor. There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah.
The Haunting is when I fell in love with her as an actress. Because I remember as a kid, I went to go see it because it was PG-13. I was like, oh my God, I can watch this movie. It was scary. Ah! So I enjoy her as an actress. I think she's great. So excuse me, Frances McDormand, even though you do play.
Well,
I don't know.
movies we're looking forward. Movies we're looking forward to. I think I already said Barbie and Oppenheimer.
For me, I am currently playing it by ear. My movie was Super Mario Brothers that I was looking forward to, and I saw it, and so now I'm just kind of like, well, let's see what else is coming out. This is me right now. Oh, The Blackening was one I was looking forward to, and it didn't disappoint at all. So
I have a free movie ticket. I think I'm gonna go see that.
It's so fucking funny. But it was also like campy horror too, which I enjoy.
My favorite thing right now is going and reading reviews for that movie because I like to see who's white and reviewing it.
Well, it's interesting because there are certain white people who would get every joke, and then there are others who would be like, what is happening here? And you could tell what TV they watch based off of the jokes that are told, because it's very pop culture. It's going to be a lot of very 90s, early 2000s references with a little bit of late 80s splashes. So it's very like, if you were aware of what was going on, then you should get the jokes, which is why I thought anyone complaining is like, what are we talking about?
You're just out of the loop and you're upset you're out of the loop.
Exactly. Like you weren't watching TV then. So, I guess. Let's see here. Are y'all watching Secret Invasion?
No.
I'm marveled out.
I'm in Marvel burnout right now with like I haven't watched She-Hulk. I haven't watched Secret Invasion. And it's not because I'm like, oh, I hate it, I'm gonna talk shit about it. It's simply because I'm on burnout and I need to chill on it.
Same.
If I watch it right now, I guarantee I'm gonna hate it.
I would like to recommend an anime very quickly to everybody here that I just finished and binge watched yesterday. Hell's Paradise is one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Do yourselves a favor, everyone. Please, 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 please. If you love anime and if you haven't seen it, look it up, watch it. You are welcome. Story is excellent. Animation is excellent. The fight scenes are incredible. But it's the story for me that is really like driving my love for the show. Because it's just, my friend's like, you got to read the manga now. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get the manga. Because apparently it's like a short one. It's like only 123 like comics. So I'm like, okay, cool. I had goosebumps at the end of it because the way it ended felt like Across the Spiderverse. Like you just left so much on the table. Like, wait, excuse me? Like, wait, excuse me? Like, I was so mad.
You're like, I need more.
That was like the third act finally picked up. So I was like, okay, we're going somewhere. Then that reveal, I was like, oh shit. And then I'm like, oh, we just leaving it? No. So yeah, I'm a little bit pressed. That was one of the reasons why I was mad when I left the movie, because I'm like, I gotta come back. We couldn't have no resolutions. Damn you, trilogies. Very Empire Strikes Back. Like, nothing's ending on a good note. I read the manga. It was amazing. Yeah, I didn't see it on Crunchyroll. I had to go to one of those sites where you have to constantly make sure that virus doesn't get there. Yeah, that was the unfortunate part. But once I let it play, I just streamed it to my TV and I was good to go.
Studio
Vinland Saga anime that finished up their second season. It's so good it breaks your heart. Is it one of those dramatic ones? Because I normally stay away from those. I like the action ones versus the we're about to sit here and have a not actionable conversation. But I'll take a look at it. You see the Studio Ghibli one? Let me see where that
Studio Ghibli recommendation for a newbie, so just starting out. Ooh.
TT. I should ask TT if you're still here. I almost want to ask, like, where what your favorite kind of movie is, like genre, and I think I can base you into what you should start with.
Yeah, it all depends on what your taste is, because like some aren't my cup of tea more than others are.
I'm glad I saw Kiki's Delivery Service later versus first, and same with Ponyo, because my introduction was Princess Mononoke, okay, and that was on another level of it was just a lot to take in, and then of course Spirited Away is what brought me into it. Oh, but can I be honest with you? With Spirited Away, like I said, being one of the best animated movies, right? I could argue that Howl's Moving Castle was right.
Oh, start with that. Yeah, start with Howl's. I feel like Howl's hits all of the markers for what a Studio Ghibli film is. It has the fantasy, it has the adventure,
It's
the
a great
scripting,
story
the
too.
music, all that. It's really good.
That ending was satisfying.
You really can't go wrong with picking one. I would say don't pick Porco Rossi for your first one,
No, ma'am.
and don't pick Wind Rises for your first one.
No, ma'am.
They'll turn you off from it because they're a lot slower. You want to do something that's got more magic to it first, because then you'll see the magic in the slower ones.
You know what? I would say Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle. If you wanted something a little bit more gritty, Princess Mononoke. But if you want really light service, Kiki's Delivery Service before Ponyo.
Very cute.
Very Kiki's Delivery Service before, because Kiki's another like. That was nice. We all left the.
It's so wholesome. It's so wholesome.
Super sweet. Like, oh, and the story was cool too. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that Ponyo story though is when you get there, have a good time with that one. That's another Little Mermaid if you want to talk about it. Yeah. A different version.
I was gonna mention Wolf Children and somebody beat me to it. If you haven't seen Wolf Children, 1, get tissues. 2, the animation is so beautiful. It's all hand painted.
Can we have an episode that's about stop motion animation movies?
Please. Okay. Oh my god. But I also have some weird recommendations for that, so everybody has to be prepared for my weird rec.
Isle of Dogs needs to be seen by all of you, but I'm just gonna put that there. It's one of my favorite movies by Wes Anderson. I was very shocked that he was able to pull that together. I was like, oh, this is fun. And for once, I don't have to imagine a black person in the audience. But then, there we go.
He's using them like so.
Using them.
He's using them now. He's using them now.
Stop saying the peppermint. Wait.
No,
what is he doing?
He's using them now. But like the reason I say it like that, listen to how I say it, and I say this as a Wes Anderson lover. I say he's using them now because it's like all of a sudden he's like, oh, but I put Jeffrey Wright in here. I'm like,
of beige,
the light-skinned landlord.
Yeah, I was like, so who they would always say speaks very well, girl. I was like, oh, okay, but anywho,
but he's getting there, I guess.
Faster than the Burton. Listen,
True.
Isle of Dogs is a good one. Chicken Run is one of the greatest movies to ever come out.
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Oh.
Del Toro's Pinocchio. If you have daddy issues, please take care of yourself while you watch that.
A masterpiece, and it is not the Disney Pinocchio. So if you want a different story that's actually more in line with the real story of Pinocchio, it's very dark. I will have to tell you that it's kind of twisted in some senses. It makes you go, "Oh my god, what am I watching?"
Pinocchio, but with fascism and daddy issues.
Very that it's quite insane to watch. I would say James and the Giant Peach.
Ooh, yeah,
that was so good. Oh, I miss the days of the theater. I remember there was like this giant poster when we'd walk into the Cinemark at Tinseltown, and it was like this giant peach, and the things would be popping out of it. Like,
Miss Spider would consistently always be stolen off of them because her legs were so thin that she's easily ripped.
Mm-hmm. We will have to have a terrible movie day. I think that's gonna be a great title for it. Terrible movie.
I honestly feel like
Twister is gonna be on that list.
I'm gonna throw this out here. Since this is a movie podcast. I haven't even run this by Maddie yet. I was just thinking of it as we were doing this.
Talk about it. The audience
Would
is here.
you guys be interested in having a Discord channel where we just like we can talk and chatter movies and we can have a movie night?
You're going to
Like,
trigger these people because they're trying to get me to do a Discord for the game. It's a part of it. And I just don't know how to set that all up.
I can help you.
I'm not inclined.
I'm gonna get Maddie together. Okay.
They've been trying to get me to do a Discord.
I'll get Maddie together. We'll get him a gaming Discord. We'll get our movie Discord. We can probably just throw them in the same channels. But look at all the yeses. I know how to set those up. I know how to put the little things in.
Triggered. No.
We'll get them together because I also do gaming. I also play the video games.
It's funny because I did talk to Ange just the other day, Belchan. I don't know why I'm randomly thinking of this movie, but because someone mentioned Philip Seymour Hoffman, rest in peace. Capote. I immediately saw his name and thought of Capote, and that is I actually really loved that movie, and I thought he did an excellent job. I was shocked.
I'm sorry, but I can't think of him without thinking of Doubt.
Ooh.
Him and Meryl in that. Oh,
that was one of those movies I watched one time and I couldn't watch again because it's too
anxiety inducing. Like it's such a good movie, but you cannot watch it again. You just can't. It's so much anxiety. It's so much pent up. Like what the fuck? Which is real? What's real? Like please, I need to know. But it's one of those endings where it's like, okay, I'm glad that you didn't tell me, but I kind of need to know
that part.
I kind of need to know.
I want to know. Shout out to Houston having its second consecutive day of not having a heat advisory. It is actually 80 degrees outside at 4:00 right now, and that has not been the case for over 2 weeks. My AC is running perfectly fine for the first time in 2 weeks. You don't even know how happy I am. Like the AC would run for it's like 7 hours. I'm having to pump it up to 79 degrees so that way it just finally like just takes a break. Like relax. You don't have to continue to blow air, but it was so hot outside. It registered at 120 at one point in time in Houston. And humidity
in Houston, that's like 120.
Because humid heat is worse than dry heat. I don't care what anybody says. It is suffocating.
I say that as a Las Vegas. Like I live in Las Vegas. That's what they're called. I live in Las Vegas. I'm in Las Vegas.
Where do you live? Las Vegas?
Las Vegas. No, you have to put like the Las Vegas. We live in Las Vegas. And like the dry heat, like we can get up to like 115, and that'll only affect you if you're standing directly in the sun. Whereas in Texas, the second you set foot outside, you taste the air.
Mm-hmm.
You can chew the air.
And as someone who also lived in Las Vegas, yes, because yeah, and I was doing walks in the heat at one point in time to the sponsor
for headache medication.
That's what I was doing. That's just to get my hand.
Let's go headache medication. Oh my god, we've reached this point.
We have. Well, thank you.
Y'all, I thought we said goodbye to Grimace, but here she is.
I want to thank you. No. You know how it used to be when after the Cosby episodes where it'd always be that jazz singer that come on there and it'd be like, well, we need to see you rolling. Yeah. And it's like, whose uncle is this? This motherfucker.
Why do you sound like you belong on the PJs?
No, this is the PJs.
Yo, super.
Yo, Juicy, what you want over here?
Well, super. I was looking for my friend and I lost him, super.
Can you go ahead and help me get to? Oh, Juicy, you always pissing me off. Because you know Eddie Murphy do that same voice, donkey. Like he been carrying that donkey voice for like years. Like
he just
whatever.
changes the pitch of it.
Exactly. He just changes for his audience. You know, one was on Fox 20th Century and the other one was Universal, but there you go.
Oh, we tuned into that show all the time.
I love, and the fact it's on Hulu now is such a gas because that was crazy stop motion animation. Like Loretta Devine was a voice on there, y'all.
Yes.
Like that was a stat cast of people there. Yeah, very much that. Talk about you're not gonna fix this super coming over here like that. I don't know what you're talking about over here. This bitch going over there. Hey, get you over there. It's very, and then the crackhead.
Oh my God, and he's always.
I just need to get something here. You cover me, please. You know, and then mind you, it just reminded me of like in Living Color with Damon Wayans is the hey, please.
Right, I knew where you were going with it immediately.
And he'd be like, well, and he would do that with his tongue. Like I just, you know, it's like. Why I got my pickle in the jar.
None of this would air today. None of it.
And he's like, here you go. It's pickles. See, I used my own yeah. Like it was such a crazy fucking time for comedy back then. Like, what happened?
Oh my God.
I blame Dane Cook.
Honestly, I blame Dane Cook for a lot of things.
And Kevin Hart.
How those dollhouses going, Kevin?
You gotta get you in your booster seat when you get in the car.
You want uppies? Uppies?
Not uppies.
You want uppies?
I imagine like Kevin Hart is just Bobby from Bobby's World running around here annoying us very much. You're
getting in the way, don't you know?
See. Listen, let's wrap this up. It is the 2-hour marker here, and we're going to go into a delirium of making fun of people and doing voices for you today. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Frat bagger. You know this. Hey judge, can I go to the party, judge? I like
you gotta do the right, like the wrist.
Judge. Yeah. Judge. I can't. My bad. And I'm trying to get Randy's voice down from South Park. Please give me a couple more weeks, y'all, because I've been watching some episodes and I've been practicing a little bit. So I'm trying to get Randy down. Geez, Sharon, gosh, you never let me get away with anything. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, Sharon, the PC principles that come through.
What?
Azure principal, PC principal. Is that right? What you doing over there, girl?
We need to get off this channel.
We do. Okay.
We need to go.
There's a link tree with all of my information there. Click it if you dare. You're not going to be in for a scare. This is a Goosebumps episode, but R.L. Stein also didn't write this. But check out my link tree links. I'll take you to all my special places and spaces. Over the next 2 weeks, me and Bleeker will be pulling this together as far as where we're going to start doing these videos or say like conversations. We may just get a separate Patreon for that in reference to it. We'll talk about this, that, and the other. We'll have a discussion. I may bring y'all into a voting poll system, whatever y'all think. Get in the comment section too and tell us where you would like to hear this at or how you like this format to go down. So that way Bleeker can also be rewarded for their hard work along with myself of doing these podcasts with y'all today. But Bleeker, what are your socials and anything you want to let people know?
Instagram, TikTok, Twitch are all It's Bleeker XO, spelled just like you see on the screen, BLEEKER. Twitter is XOX. I know that's a little bit confusing. I'm sorry. But that's where you can reach me. I'll have like a link tree and all that stuff set up next time around when we do all this so that you can actually like have my payment information. I was just a little too lazy to do it this time. So that's where you can hit me up. I'm there all the time. If you do follow me on Twitter, you will get a ton of movie, music, and celebrity news, though. So
shout out to Feral Kitty. We appreciate the picture you made today and posted on Twitter. Matinee wishes and fresh popcorn dreams. We appreciate y'all so much for tuning in today.
Yeah.
Amore. I love you too. So much together. I can't wait for the upcoming movie reviews and nostalgia. It's always fun to have somebody you can bounce off that shares the mic with you. I love you. I love you.
Listen, I like the sound of your voice. Thanks for stopping in, guys. Appreciate it. This is kind of something we've been working on for a while. Like verbally,
we talked for like so long.
It was like 6 months of us being like, we should do that, and then
yeah, we should. And then me making notes, and then like us like coming back to it in the middle of our 2-hour-long phone calls, going, "Where didn't we talk about that podcast? Yeah, we're still doing that. Yeah, we're still doing that. We're still doing this. This is happening.
So now we're doing it. So
yes, because we already do it on the phone. So why not do
why not do it with you guys so that we could all have a conversation?
Literally, as we break down movies, talk about why we love them, gush, feel, live, breathe. All of it. So I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in today. Do me a favor and hit up the comment section. Tell me what you thought about this episode. Please take care of yourselves. I love y'all down. And yeah, we'll see you for the next one. Don't forget to go to the movies. We'll see you later. Bye.